Hi everyone, my name is Kaylee Brewer and this presentation covers Chapter 3 through 5 from Reinventing Project-Based Learning. These chapters focus on planning meaningful projects, creating engaging learning experiences, and using assessment to support student learning. And this is my PowerPoint. Okay, Chapter 3, which is Imagining the Possibilities. Chapter 3 talks about how successful projects start with important concepts and skills. Before planning a project, teachers need to identify the most important learning goal for the students. The chapter emphasizes connecting learning to real-world experiences so students can see why the content matters and why it's important. It also explains how projects can bring multiple subject areas together and make learning more meaningful. What is the big idea? One thing that stood out to me in this chapter was the importance of identifying the big idea behind a project. Big ideas help students focus on concepts that go beyond memorizing facts. When projects are connected to real-world situations, students are often more interested and engaged, so they'll like it better if they're connected to the real world. The author explains that students learn best when they understand the purpose behind what they're learning. So basically telling them why they're learning it will make it so that they understand it better. This chapter also discusses the skills students need in today's world. Project-based learning encourages students to think critically, solve problems, and work collaboratively. So they all work together. Technology can be used to support research, communication, and teamwork. Students also develop important qualities such as perseverance, responsibility, and a growth mindset, which is good for them to have in the real world. Chapter 4 is strategies for discovery. Chapter 4 focuses on where project ideas come from and how teachers can create meaningful learning experiences. The authors explain that projects should begin with meaningful questions that encourage kids to be interested in it. So they ask a question that will engage everybody into what they're going to be learning about. Students' interests are an important part of planning because they help increase engagement. So doing something that they're interested in will help them stay engaged in the learning process. Real world problems and experiences can make learning more authentic and relevant. So if we have real world problems, it'll make it more, so like once again, the students are more engaged. According to the chapter, high-quality projects share several important characteristics. They are driven by inquiry and investigation rather than simple memorization. So when the students are like looking into what the projects are actually going to be about instead of just memorizing what the facts are, it'll help make the lesson more beneficial. They often involve collaboration and connect learning across different subjects. These projects allow students to take an active role in their learning and construct their own understanding. Project ideas can come from many different places. Teachers can use student interests, community issues, current events, or real-world challenges. The chapter explains that using authentic topics helps students make connections between what they learn in school and the world around them. This can help increase student motivation and participation. Chapter 5 is Making Assessment Meaningful. Chapter 5 focuses on assessment and how it can support student learning. Instead of relying only on traditional tests, students can demonstrate their learning through projects, presentation, and other activities. So in order to see if the students really were engaged for the lesson and they can understand you can do other ways instead of just taking a test, which I think that's awesome, because I remember when I was younger, I didn't always love testing. So the projects would be something that I would really like if I was an elementary student still. The chapter explains that assessment should be part of the learning process rather than something that only happens at the end. Feedback is also important because it helps students improve and grow. Formative and summative assessment. This chapter discusses two important types of assessment, formative and summative. Formative assessment happens during learning and provides feedback along the way. So it's ongoing, it helps guide instruction, and it supports improvement. Summative assessment takes place at the end, and it basically evaluates what students have learned. So it measures the final learning, evaluates project outcomes, and demonstrates mastery. Rubrics and assessment tools. The chapter also discusses several assessment tools that support student learning. Rubrics can help communicate expectations and show students what success looks like. Self-assessments encourage students to reflect on their own progress. Other tools like checklists, portfolios, or maybe project logs help students stay organized and monitor their learning. My reference page is just the information in this presentation came from Reinventing Project-Based Learning by Larmer, Mergendaler, and Voss. Hopefully I didn't butcher that name. Thank you for watching my presentation. I hope this overview provided a better understanding of chapters 3, 4, and 5 and the role project-based learning plays in supporting students' learning and engagement. And thank you for watching.